Milk thistle, Salibum marianum. Salibum, according to the Greek philosophers, an edible thistle. Marianum, according to folklore, Mary, mother of Jesus, spilled some of her breast milk on the leaf when she was nursing the baby Jesus, and has had this white marbling ever since. That is a characteristic to the plant, and if you want to identify milk thistle, it's one of the main ways that you can be sure that you've got the real thing. The plant has a taproot, which is delicious and edible, can be chopped up and boiled and made into a delicious pot herb. The leaves are also edible if they're divested of their spines, using a pair of scissors to cut around the leaf and using only the internal portion. It can be eaten raw or cooked. And the flowering capitula is similarly armed with these very serious bracts, which protect the flower and the developing seeds inside. It's the seeds that are most commonly used in herbal medicine. They contain the silymarin complex of flavolignans, which are hepatoprotective agent. That is, they protect the liver from damage. So it's commonly used by people who are working in places where there's a great toxicity, painting cars, or in chemical plants, or roadside spray workers. It makes sense to take some milk thistle seeds. You don't have to buy them at the store. You can grow your own, or you can harvest them from the wild. The plant likes to grow mainly on the seashore. In fact, I've often thought that instead of using the folkloric marianum species name, it might be more useful to call the plant maritimum, because it does grow by the seashore. In any case, it is an overwintering annual. That is, the seeds drop during the summertime. It's July now, and the seeds are ripening. Then they reside in the soil and germinate as the fall rains come in. They overwinter as a rosette and then come up to flower again in the early summer of the following year. So that makes it less than 1 year maturation cycle. If you plant the seeds in the spring, it takes about 150 days to get the flowers. So you would want to plant them early in the colder zones. Otherwise, you would not get a harvest. Here's one that's almost ready to harvest. You can see the pappus hairs are turning white on the top. This is an indication of ripeness of the seeds. And what I like to do is I like to use scissors for the harvest, and I bend them over, and then click, and into the box it goes. And I like to keep the flowering heads in the box because that allows for some air circulation, and the spiny bracts also keep the heads apart. So I just keep those indoors and they dry out. Let me see if I can show you some of the seeds here. Yeah, those are the milk thistle seeds. The seeds should be dark black in color for best medicinal uses. They will be very light colored usually in a commercial sample of the seed. They'll be light colored, and those are inferior both for planting and for medicinal use. So if you come out and you just harvest the ripe heads on an ongoing basis, then you get the best quality medicine. It's just typical to herbalism. The more you put into it, the more care you take, the better the medicine, the better the outcome. The heads are allowed to dry like that in the box, and then after some time, after they're fully dry, you dump the box out onto a table screen. You put a sheet underneath, and then you whip the jabbers out of it with a flail, and the seed will come out of the heads and fall down onto the sheet, and then that can be collected and winnowed and made pure that way. The production of one large milk thistle plant, and these plants are actually kind of small this year. I didn't get the size that I usually get. What I generally do is choose the best volunteers and weed out the rest, and the yield can be over 2 pounds per plant, so you can really get a lot of medicine out of a single plant. These plants here probably will make about half a pound of seed each if I continue to harvest them. And I will continue to harvest them because I don't really want the seeds to go blowing all over the garden and I have to weed them out later, or they become food for the doves, which is really actually kind of nice that the doves have something to eat. But it's a responsibility that I have to make sure that the plant is harvested on an ongoing basis, and then that makes seeds for the seed company, and also it makes seeds for the household. The way that you process the seeds for medicinal use is to put them in a little coffee grinder, the kind with the whirring blades, and grind it up into a powder, and then use that. The dosage is 1 tablespoonful morning and night for a liver cleanse situation, to treat liver disease, or maybe just 1 tablespoonful of the ground seeds per day for a preventive program. Milk thistle is a unique plant. It is both dangerous in its spines and very useful in its medicine. I recommend people to have it and use it. It has assisted many alcoholics from using alcohol because it bolsters the liver and reduces the craving for alcohol. It is best used in the whole form, not made into a tincture, because an alcoholic tincture really makes very little sense in terms of liver tonic. And also is best to grow it at home and use it in the whole form, because you get all the parts of the seed, the nourishing fatty portions, as well as the full complex of slimerin, versus the kind of thing that you might buy in the store, where you're buying a plastic bottle and it's not the whole array of constituents. So another example of a good reason to keep these plants close to home and clasp them to your liver. Well, don't literally clasp them to your liver, but go through the process of cleaning the seeds and clasp those to your liver, and you'll live longer. Take care. All the best.